And we are live. Hello, homemakers, and everyone in the chat or on the replay. Tonight, we welcome Angel from Habits of a Homemaker to the show. Angel is a digital homemaking coach, and she's going to give us some tips on how we can be more successful on our homemaking journeys. But before we get into that, this video is sponsored by Apron Diva. Pretty and practical, we believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. And the featured apron for the week is this one. It is the one which we call Dawn. It's giving bunnies some love. You can see little bunnies there. And it's also the apron that we have, and we call it Dawn to represent the new beginning that comes with spring and also with Easter. So visit us at www.aprondiva.com. And if you're new to the channel, I am Denise Jordan, your host. And I want to welcome you to Homemaking with Purpose, where we bring to you the best ideas, interviews, and information for today's homemaker. So please give Angel a warm welcome as we bring her to the platform.
Hi, ladies. Hi, Denise.
Hello, Angel. I am so glad that you could join us tonight. I have been looking forward to this interview.
I have been looking forward to it too. I am so happy to be here.
All right. Well, ladies on the chat, let me just remind you guys, if you have a question, put an a hashtag Q in front of your question, and that'll help Mickey Blue Skies capture your question so that we don't miss it. And sometimes I get to chatting away and then I miss the question and she has to remind me. So if you guys hear the little bings from my phone, that means she's sending me a message. So that's what that is. So, okay. And then we've got quite a few people over here already that are just jumping on, just saying hello, hello. So many people are just glad to be here. And I think we've got some of your people joining us tonight.
Yes. Hi, homemakers. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We've got some new homemakers tonight. And yes, the apron is right back there on the door.
Oh,
and oh, Chris says my hair looks extra lovely tonight. Thank you, guys. You guys know Thursday is my hair day. So every Thursday at 10, I'm at the beauty shop. So right now you're seeing it look its best. Tomorrow, the curls will be a lot looser. But all right. So, okay. So now let me go ahead and get into it. I don't want to hold people up too long. And Angel, first of all, if you could just tell us a little bit about your homemaking journey. I'm just really interested in that. So tell us about your homemaking journey.
Okay, so my journey started really early. My husband and I met when I was 18. I was a freshman in college, and we got married just a month after I turned 19. So I became a wife and a homemaker at 19, and this next month actually will be 11 years that my husband and I have been married, and we have four little ones, 3 boys and 1 girl.
Busy.
Yes.
All right. Okay. And have you ever worked outside the home, or were you a homemaker, a stay-at-home homemaker right from the beginning?
I was a stay-at-home homemaker.
Okay.
Right from the beginning. I was actually still taking classes, and my husband just really wanted me to focus on school and not have to be concerned with trying to work and go to school and be a wife. And so I've always been a full-time homemaker.
Okay. And what was homemaking like for you as a new homemaker?
That is a good question. I look back, I was so excited to be married and be a wife. And at the same time, I look back and I see different things where I'm like, okay, Angel, you could have did a lot better in this area. So I think that it was a wonderful experience, but at the same time there was so many different things that I just didn't know. Even just when it came down to having certain basic essentials at the house that I look back, I'm like, okay, you needed to have this, you should have got this. Or even when it came to just kind of sprucing up the home a little bit more, things that I wish that I would have done during that time, but I just really didn't know.
There's just so much that you don't know. I was talking to my husband the other day because I had told him that you were coming on, and I was going to call you a young
Mhm.
homemaker because you are. I mean, you're just
Mhm.
a babe. You're just going to
Mhm.
be 30 in a few
Mhm.
days. I'm
Right.
old enough that I don't even tell folks how I'm not anymore. But we got young. We got married young as well. But
Okay.
I was telling him how when I was like a teenager before I left
Mhm.
home, I had said, "Oh, when I get married, I'm gonna. My husband is never going to see me in rollers. I'm going to get up really early and take my rollers out so he doesn't
Mhm.
gonna always
Mhm.
this, that, and the other." And when I told him that, he was just cracking up. He was saying, "No, that's not even realistic." And trust me, I was looking a hot mess while we were talking about it. But it was just kind of funny to
Mhm.
the kind of things you think about. And
Yes.
I do remember that one piece of advice that my mom gave me, and she didn't give me a lot of advice as far
Mhm.
as marriage because she felt like
Mhm.
you need to figure that out on your
Mm.
own. But she did say, don't start anything you don't
Mm.
intend to keep up the rest of your life.
Mm. I love
And
that.
I have always remembered that. And that is the only piece of advice that I pass on
Mhm.
to young brides as well, because,
Mhm.
it makes a lot of sense. Because if you spoil that man with whatever it is, those first few months, he's going to expect that for your entire
Mhm.
marriage. So when she said, "Don't start something you don't intend to keep up," it makes sense. And right
Mhm.
now, people may think, "Hmm." And I've started a few habits lately that every now and then I'm like, "Should I be doing this?" But so let me ask you, if you were to give advice to your younger self, to the angel that is now 19, what would you
Mhm.
say?
Wow, that is a great question. I would really say, and as a homemaker, right? When it
Mhm.
comes to being a homemaker.
Well, and
um,
now let me just stop you for a second.
mhm.
I want to explain my
Okay.
perspective of a homemaker is that if you're creating a home, you're a homemaker. You
Yes,
can be making a home for yourself, for you and your boo, for you and a family, but you're a homemaker because you're creating a home.
that's
Or you
right.
don't have to be a full-time wife. You don't even have to be a wife. And it doesn't have
Mhm.
to be full-time, could be part-time. So now,
That's
what
right.
would you say to your 19-year-old self? Whichever way you want to phrase it, you pick.
Ooh, I would say just to be bold, to not allow other people's opinions on what you should be doing in your life to kind of just sway your decision making. Be bold in your decisions. Be confident, be confident in your purpose, and just really stand in that with certainty and boldness. That's what I would tell myself.
I like that. I like the fact that you said be bold and be confident in yourself and in your opinions. And you are so true when you said don't let what other people's thoughts are interfere or influence what your perspective of what you and your husband need to do, what needs to go on in your home.
Mhm.
Okay. So who taught you to be a homemaker? Like who was your role model?
I would say my biggest role model was my grandmother, and we called my grandmother Mama,
Mhm.
and she was just one of the best homemakers. My brother and I would, my mom would take us over there early in the morning because she had to be at work early, and when it was time to wake up, we would always, my grandmother would have been up in the wee hours early in the morning, and she would be preparing a place for us. And so she was always cooking. She had our lunches, and we had wonderful hot lunches ready to go to school. The kids would steal our lunches at school because they were so good. She had just the best lunches. She was praying and praising God, and she made us get up, and we had to pray on our knees at our beds, make our beds up, pray. And then she would tell us to go in the bathroom, and she would say, go and wash up and brush your teeth and wash your face. You couldn't come to the table with cruddy eyes and funky breath. And I would say, but my food is going to taste like toothpaste. And she just did not care. She said, you're going to get freshened up before you come here. But she was my biggest homemaking role model.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, I love that. Okay. So, one of the questions that I remember, well, that I pulled from watching one of your YouTube videos, and you said that your home is your sanctuary.
Mhm.
Tell us what you mean by this and how we can make it so in our home.
So essentially, when I say your home is your sanctuary, I think of it as your safe haven. When you look back and you see, how large the world is, and in the world, each of us, Lord willing, have a home, a place, whether it's a room, it's a home, an apartment, whatever. And that out of the entire world, that's your space. That's your space to make your sanctuary. It's your safe haven, where you feel most comfortable, where you should be able to just be yourself. You should be able to, style your home however you want. Maybe other people are saying, well, this particular decor, nobody likes this, or this is too quirky or too whatever. But in your home, you have the freedom to do that. And so that is your resting place, your sanctuary, the place where you can be safe and retreat, and just enjoy.
Well, one of the things that I always say is that homemaking is an art and a science. And I believe that the art is the therapeutic use of self to create that cozy environment in your home.
Mhm.
So, can you elaborate on that just a little bit while I check what this beep is that she just sent me?
Sure. So when you talk about, right, it being that place, I would just really say beautifying your space and making it yours. I've referenced this on my channel before, where it was one time that I was kind of just taking on this decor because it was seemed to be the aesthetic of homemaking on Instagram at the time, and I started trying to decorate my home that way. And then I shortly soon realized that that wasn't my style. And it didn't really make me feel at home. And so I said, you know what? I've got to make this my space as comfortable for me and my family, and put the things that we love and we like into it. So I think even just the smallest things, even for instance, ducks. I love ducks, and I have in my kitchen little wicker duck baskets that I have on my windowsill, and just little things from statues from my great grandmother, and different things that I feel really connect my family to me in my home, and things that I enjoy. So I think that really incorporating the things that you love into your home really make that space yours.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, we have two questions, and I'm not going to try to find them because that'll just take time. She put them right here. And one of them is, what made you decide to start a YouTube channel?
Okay, let me answer that first.
Yeah.
So I started with a YouTube channel back in 2014, and actually, when I started it, my husband and I started it together. It was actually called Faith Living with the Jacksons before I later on changed the name to Habits of a Homemaker. And we started out just wanting to share our faith journey, and that was essentially it. And along with our faith journey, I just loved sharing my life as a homemaker. And so then that's just what it was. I was able to reach other women who may have lived in different states or even different countries, and just be able to express creatively that way. I'm a very creative person, and I just love making videos. And so that's what really inspired me, just to have a space to just share my homemaking and faith journey.
Okay. All right. Question number two. Um, where'd it go? How do you balance your marriage, children, ministry, and entrepreneurship?
Wow,
That's a
that's
big
a
one.
great. That is
I'll
a
read
big
it again.
one.
Oh, let me get that off the screen. I'm sorry, I forgot that was still up there. How do you balance your marriage,
Mhm.
children, ministry, and entrepreneurship?
Wow, that is huge. So honestly, I heard someone say before, and I actually could not agree more, that there's no such thing as balance. Because when you're juggling those different things, marriage and children and ministry and entrepreneurship, um, if you balance everything, that means that everything is getting the same amount to even it out. And so for me, my family is my top priority. God and my family is first. So with my husband being up here and my children being up here, I'm going to give more to my husband and to my children first than I would before I give to, for instance, something business related, and entrepreneurship. Because if my family is lacking, then what good would I be to anyone else? And my home is not in order. So I think that for me, I have to just prioritize, and so that's what I do. And honestly, God, it's the Lord. I have to have His grace, His strength. He gives me the strength that I need, and He gives me the grace that I need, because some days everything doesn't get done. Some nights, as much as I love, and I always share with the homemakers to go to sleep and try to their best to go to sleep with a clean kitchen. Some nights my kitchen, unfortunately, doesn't get cleaned, and that was something huge for me because I was a stickler, and I still am for that. But then, life with one child, for instance, and going to bed with a clean versus life with four. And if the baby's waking up and I have to go get him, then I might doze off. And then I wake up and my kitchen is a mess. And so I think just having that grace, even grace in ourselves, and just relying for me on the Lord, has really been the key, the essential key, and for me being able to get everything done that I can, and having the support of my husband and my family as well. Just us being able to be partners in this thing, and to know that I'm not alone, is definitely the big thing for me.
I like that. Partners. Okay, another question was, do you use a paper planner?
So I guess it wouldn't be officially called a planner, but just a regular old fashioned notebook. Matter of fact, I have one. I always have one nearby me, and so I have one just right here, and I always have a notebook, and this is my planner that I use. So yes, if notebooks count, then yes.
Well, yes, and I follow Elena at the Organized Money, and
Okay.
she's been talking quite a bit lately about how to keep yourself organized with your paper planner, different things like that, and that you have to balance that with the seasons of your life. And
Mm.
she said when she had her daughters, she said when one baby was one thing, but when she had two, she said her planners went by the wayside, and she used to use a notebook, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
and just put to-do lists in the notebook and notes in the
Mm-hmm.
notebook and mark things off as she
Yes.
through. So, okay, these questions are coming in fast. What is your favorite Bible scripture that sparks you joy pertaining to homemaking?
Wow. That's a good one, because it's so many. But really, just I would say in Proverbs, um, she builds her house. Like when I really think of um building my home and making sure that I'm not tearing it down, whether it's with my words or with my actions or lack thereof. So that really, I would say that's my favorite, one of my favorite ones.
Okay. Now, I hadn't intended to talk about this, but I think since you introduced that subject, it's probably a good one when you talked about the scripture that I think it's like a wise woman builds her home or something
Yes.
like that. And you said you want to make sure you're not tearing it down with your words. And sometimes we as women can have a sharp tongue. And
Yes.
I am one who can also have a sharp tongue. And I
Mhm.
thought about that because I looked at your video about using your voice.
Mhm.
And I thought about that video today when all of a sudden I was trying to print off the notes for the show, actually. Luckily, I was printing them off this morning
Okay.
and the printer wouldn't work. And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, what the heck? It was
Mhm.
working. all of a sudden it just
Right.
didn't work. So I called my husband to come in, and I says, honey, the printer's not working. He was over in his studio doing something. So he came over and he was looking here and looking there. And he's like, well, did you check this? Did you check that? And I was like, well, I just did it. I just showed you right now what I was
Mhm.
doing. I wasn't looking. I didn't see it. And so then when I made his tea later this morning and took it up to him, I said, I'm really sorry for being sharp. But it was just like,
Mhm.
I got frustrated and I thought, this is what Angel was talking about. So I have to tell you, some of the things you said certainly resonated.
Wow. That's
Okay, well, let me see what's next, because questions are coming in. And let
okay.
me ask you about um, the home being your sanctuary. Let's back up
Mhm.
just for a second.
Okay.
Why is decluttering so important to a peaceful home? Because you brought that
Mhm.
out in your video about how to have a
Mhm.
peaceful home. So talk about that.
Oh my goodness. I honestly feel like it's one of the most important things. I think that oftentimes we don't realize how much our environment affects us. And oftentimes I talk about your mind and just changing your mind and making sure that your mindset is right. And when you have if you have a cluttered environment,
Hmm.
your mind is not at peace. I know at least mine's isn't. And it kind of fills you with anxiety and frustration. So, if you think about it, let's say your room is cluttered and things are everywhere and you're trying to get ready in the morning and you're stepping over stuff and you're looking and you're trying to find your stuff and you can't find it. Your husband can't find his shirt for work and it's just a mess and it's cluttered, or you pick something up and everything falls down, right? And so, it really it weighs on you, and it doesn't, if you think about it, it makes you angry, it makes you frustrated, and so it starts spewing out all of these negative things because your environment is essentially, it's no way for peace to flow in that environment. So when things are clean and when they're clear, I love to use this analogy, and that's why I'm a big stickler for my kitchen being cleaned at night, because I noticed this, that when I would go to sleep, if I would accidentally fall asleep and my kitchen was not clean, when I would wake up in the morning, and sometimes my kids would even get up before me, and because they get up at the crack of dawn,
Yes.
and they would say, Mommy, I'm hungry. And I'm trying to, I've got dishes and things all in the sink and the countertops are filled. And it seems like I can't get what they need fast enough. So they're crying and they're frustrated. And now I'm getting frazzled because I want them to stop crying and I'm trying to hurry up. And then I have to do more work to try to get everything clean, just to be able to cook, just for it to be a mess again. And so I noticed that when I have my kitchen clean, when I walk down and I come in, and even if they're already up and they say, Mommy, I'm hungry, it's a prepared place for them. I can walk into my clean, I'm ready to serve. It's already been, prepared. And now I can just come into servanthood and I can do it with the spirit of gladness and joy. And now my demeanor is, I'm whatever my babies want. Okay, honey, and mommy's just ready to serve. And now they're happy versus coming into a cluttered, messy environment. And now everybody's frustrated. And so I think that is so important to have that clean, clutter-free environment, because the atmosphere is really changed when we do that.
I have to agree completely with you. When I come downstairs in the morning and my kitchen is clean and clutter free, I feel like my kitchen is giving me a hug.
I
But
love
when
that.
I come downstairs and the kitchen is at sixes and sevens, it's like, I got to clean this up before I
Yeah.
can make the coffee or before I can make his tea or anything like
Mhm.
that. So, yes,
And by that time, you don't even almost want to do anything else, right? When it's
Mhm.
clean, it's like you're ready to cook.
Okay. Um, this question comes from Omanique Melvin, and she says, how do you set, I'm thinking hard relationships with family and friends that do not respect or
Mhm.
value your lifestyle, being a young wife and mother, taking into account what is promoted as socially normal today? I kind of think this is a very interesting question because we
Mhm.
have so many norms today
Mhm.
and so many different types of families today, so that almost anything can really be considered normal.
Mhm,
But when you've got family members, though, that are projecting
mhm,
their opinions on
mhm.
you, it can create some difficulty. So, what do you want to say to Omanique?
So wow, okay, that's a great question as far as setting and handle relationships with family and friends that do not respect or value your lifestyle being a young wife and mother. Honestly, my biggest advice is set boundaries. And that was my biggest thing. And I talk about this too in my e-guide because I think it's so important that you and your husband come together, whatever vision it is that you all have for your home, that you make sure that boundaries are set where someone cannot compromise that vision not being fulfilled. And so, sometimes, we may be afraid to speak up and set those boundaries. I know at one point as a young homemaker, I was, and I said yes to things sometimes that I shouldn't have said yes to, or I allowed people to tie up my time and I really had to be doing something else. And so I think that it's important to set boundaries and to also be confident in just your role as a homemaker. Oftentimes, people project this thing where they feel like, oh, you're just at home all day, you're not doing anything, or you can be my personal assistant because you're a homemaker. You're at home, so you can do these things for me. And it's like, no, I'm at home to be able to take care of my home. And so I think that setting those boundaries, being very clear, and making people respect those boundaries. And you can do it in a respectful way, but just not letting people walk all over you and be.
I agree
Mhm.
completely with that. I don't know where this echo's coming from. I think it's on my end, but so I'm trying not to talk too much.
I
So
don't hear it though.
someone is hearing it because I got a comment about it, but
Oh wow.
I'll
Okay.
just have to, we'll just have to roll with it. But I made notes about a couple of things. And I think the one is that you made the comment about was don't let other people tie up your time because you're
Mhm.
home. They will assume, as you said, well, you're not doing anything. So can I drop my kids off and you do that? And it's like times maybe, but all the time, no.
Right.
And you're home to run your home, like
That's
you said.
right.
And I think the other thing is that people have to respect what you and your husband have decided works for your.
That's right.
And if you and your husband have made the decision that you're going to be a stay-at-home wife and a stay-at-home
Mhm.
mom, that's okay. And it could be a little bit of jealousy involved because maybe that other person wishes they could stay at home. But
Mhm.
I have heard sometimes those stay-at-home moms are and we do it ourselves to
Mhm.
our sisters are denigrated. Well, why don't you get a job? Why don't you go out
Mhm.
with your husband? That
Mhm.
okay.
That's so true.
Yeah, this question just popped up there and it popped up and then it was gone. Let's see, where did it go? It was something about balancing um let's see. Do you have any tips for aspiring homemakers? She's got a lot of questions here. Let's start with, do you have any tips for inspiring homemakers? We'll start there.
Mhm. Um, I would say start cultivating whatever space it is that you have now for how you would want it to be, um, however you foresee yourself in the future. I think that, like you were saying, Denise, we are all homemakers. Even if you are not married and you are single, your space is still your home. And I think that just cultivating your home and making it your sanctuary and setting the atmosphere and beautifying it and doing all of those things, making sure that it's run efficiently, is a big thing. So I would say cultivate your space now, learn new skills, learn how to cook, learn how to clean. And I think that sometimes, even we'll say something like, okay, how to clean, or just everything think that everyone knows how to clean. And sometimes you don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. So let's say there may be a way that you can learn how to really clean your shower that you don't really know now, or you may not have thought about cleaning your baseboards or your light switches. So I think that just really kind of honing into learning how to do things, learning new skills, is definitely something that I would encourage aspiring homemakers to do.
Definitely. How do you manage to keep your intimate life with your spouse spark alive and your bedroom space sacred? I think you did video about that.
Yes. So I know I have some videos on marriage and 10 ways to make your husband go wild and those things. But as far as keeping it alive, the spark alive, yes, I do have some tips in there in that video. And then keeping your bedroom space sacred, I actually love that. One thing that we do to keep our bedroom sacred, we don't, and this is, everyone has their own preferences and convictions, so I'm not speaking to tell you what to do, but I'm just speaking my own. We don't have a television in our room. We have our TVs living room. My husband has one in his man cave and things like that. But when it comes to our room, we just want that to be a place that where we just really focus on one another. We try to keep that area clean. We do not let the kids just come and just do whatever they want and bring all their toys in the room and things like that. And so just really keeping it that sacred space. Also, we make sure that we don't like have a bunch of disagreements in our room. Or I know we've heard the thing before, people say don't go to bed angry at your spouse, and we do live by that. And so just really keeping our bedroom a space where it's just filled with love and peace. And like I said, the kids, they got you got your own room, so don't bring your toys in here. This is mommy and daddy's space. And so I just try to make sure that we prioritize each other in our space and keeping it sacred, by keeping it a place where we want to be in and where we feel that we can most connect.
Okay. Oh, what gives you energy to get everything done? Caffeine, exercise. You probably don't take naps with four little people to take care of.
Ooh, that's a great question. So, funny fact about me is that I do not drink coffee, and I never have. um, I just that's been it's funny. I hear a lot of moms like, I can't get through the day without my morning coffee. So I don't know what that feels like because I don't drink coffee. But um, for me, honestly, once again, it's the grace of God. um, and at one point in my homemaking, or just in my life journey, period, I had a vitamin D deficiency. I didn't know at the time that I did. And I was so exhausted. And it drained me so much, that it was hard for me to really get things done. And so, I would also say make sure that your nutrition is up to par. For me, I have to make sure that I'm taking my vitamins daily. I have to make sure that I'm eating the right things, that I am staying hydrated, because things like that, they sound like so basic, but they're so essential. So I notice the days when I'm running around, I'm feeling a little weaker, and I'll have to pull back and say, wait a minute, did you drink water today? Did you really sit down and take care of yourself and eat like a good meal? You've been doing so much. And so for me, just making sure that I'm putting the right things in my body, and feeling and listening to my body. If it's a moment where I feel like I need to slow down, then I'm like, okay, let me go ahead, fix me something to eat, and just sit down for a minute, drink some water, and then I can go back to doing the cleaning or to homeschooling the kids and things like that. But I have to make sure that I'm taken care of so I can take care of everybody else.
Right. You take care of yourself. There was a question here. Can you be a successful homemaker part-time while working while working a work from home job, or do you not recommend this?
I absolutely think that you can be a successful homemaker. I feel like we are all, and it's funny. This is asked because yeah, I know sometimes people ask, are you a full-time homemaker or a part-time homemaker? And I just feel like we're just homemakers. I don't think that you are looked at as a part-time homemaker because regardless of the things that we have going on in our life, it's still, our role to be keepers of our home. And so
Exactly.
I do think that you can definitely be successful because even though I am at home, I'm still, I have the channel and I'm doing, things with my books and things like that. So I have different things I'm balancing, but I think that it's just all about prioritizing, and looking at your plate. I often say this that sometimes when we're feeling really stressed or overwhelmed, take a step back and look at your routines, look at your schedule and see, have I added too much to my plate? Are there things that are on here that I really just can't afford to stretch myself to this capacity? Sometimes you have to just sit back and evaluate and see, okay, am I supposed to have this on my plate right now? Or can I take this off? And then you may see another level of stress come off of you by not just putting too much on your plate at one time.
Exactly. And sometimes they ask, like, well, can we do it all or can we have it all?
Mm,
And the answer is yes, just not all at the same time.
I love that.
You just have to prioritize and put some things off because all things are not for this season.
Oh my goodness. I resonate with that so much. That's so true.
Okay, let's see. Uh, how'd you find your business venture within the realms of homemaking and motherhood? That's a pretty good one.
It is a good one. I really believe that it's just my purpose. It's me walking in purpose. And like I said, I started this channel back in 2014 and I just I never, knew that what it would grow into or anything like that. But I knew it was just me just walking my purpose. I've always from a child knew that I didn't know the term homemaker per se, but I knew that I wanted to be at home. I knew that I wanted to have a family. And that was just something I always wanted. I actually never had a desire for a career. And at first, I used to think something was wrong with me um, because most people would say, okay, well, I want to be a lawyer or a doctor or a nurse. And none of that ever resonated with me. I just always knew that I wanted to write. I wanted to be a writer. And I always envisioned myself writing from home. And I wanted to be a wife and a mother. And so that it just was me walking my purpose. And I actually remember one person one time saying to me, they said, you know what? They said, the Lord um, showed me and shared with me that you are going to teach women how to be wives and mothers. And I knew that that was on it because that was just the role that I just was walking in. It was something that I just naturally um, that just naturally came out of me. And so now to just see even years later, those things being manifested and me just being able to serve other women and to help and empower other women really is a blessing. And so it's just been walking in purpose for me.
Okay, let me go give away the apron. Let's talk about that. So,
Okay.
for those of you who are new here, one of the things we do on this channel is as you may have missed, I have an online apron boutique called Apron Diva, and we give away an apron note in every order. And we want our patrons to feel like it's a note from their dearest friends because, as we know, homemakers are not always appreciated, and we want to let them know they do. So today's apron note says, a cozy home isn't always Pinterest perfect.
Gosh, I love that.
A cozy home isn't always Pinterest perfect. So while the chat is typing in how this note resonates with them, Angel, if you could tell us how it resonates with you. And then Mickey Blue Skies will pull the winner for the apron note. She'll pick it from somebody in the chat, and then you'll get a copy of it as well. So whoever wins will have to send me their email address, but I'll let you go ahead and speak.
Okay. Oh my goodness, that resonates with me so much. We live in a time where I feel like certain decor or aesthetics are kind of idolized and put on a pedestal. And, at one point in time, it was like you had to have all stainless steel appliances and granite countertops, or, it's only farmhouse style, or just whatever's going on, whatever trendy thing it is at the moment. And then if you have a more traditional home, then people, are like, well, it's not as modern or it's not as whatever. And for me, those are the best homes. I actually, I even think about my grandparents' home, and their home was always kept so wonderful and beautiful. But today, let's say if someone looked and said, oh, well, they don't have the most modern countertops, or, they're old, their oven is old or whatever. But that home was so cozy, and it was so much love. And I know that when I just stepped into my grandparents' home, I just felt at home. I felt loved. I felt just, oh my goodness, just this overwhelming amount of warmth. And I've been in some homes that, may have the most upgraded appliances, and, the glass, floors and all of that, the works, but it felt cold and it didn't feel warm, and you didn't feel the love there. And to me, that doesn't equal an attractive home to me. I'm attracted to where there's love and there's peace and there's joy. And so I love that cozy feeling of having items that mean something, and that are passed down from generation versus, the Z gallery, ice chandelier that really doesn't have any a story behind it. So I think that that coziness comes from the stories and the love and the warmth. And so I absolutely love that.
Oh, now that goes to my philosophy that the art in homemaking is the therapeutic use of self to
Mm,
create that peaceful environment. And the science in homemaking comes from the way we use the chemicals to prepare our meals, baking soda and different things
mhm,
like that, and gluten free, and whether or not we put vinegar in the wash and all those kinds of things.
right.
But it's certainly a combination of the above. And I really like that idea. I'm going to quit talking because we've got like 5 questions over here, and you hear this little bing, bing, bing. Um, oh, and the winner of the apron note is Grace Field is the winner.
Oh my God. I love her.
Okay,
Congratulations,
she's
sis.
new here. So, Grace, welcome to the platform. Now, what you need to do, Grace, is send me your email address. No, send me your mailing address and send it at this address, this and that with Denise at gmail.com. Don't put it in the chat because the chat is public. So, email me your mailing address and I will send you the apron note.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
then Angel will get a copy of that as well. And put it somewhere that you can access it. Post it on your bulletin board, on your refrigerator. But when you need a little pick me up, take a peek at that. All
Oh.
right. So I'm going to get that off and come back over here to comments. And can you share the benefits of being at home with your children?
Wow. That's a huge one. I would say some of the biggest benefits for me have been being able to really be that first like influence over my children, being able to protect them and to shield them. And I think that oftentimes in society we kind of hear these things where, oh, you're too sheltered, don't let your kids be too sheltered, let them go out and venture and things. But I feel like, there's nothing wrong with having a safe haven, being a sense of protection for your children. They're going to, at some point, they will be out in the world, and, they won't be with my husband and I under our roof. But while they are, it is our job to protect them and to train them up in the way that they should go. And so that is so important to me, that I'm able to train my children literally in the way that they should go. And so I take a great joy knowing that I also homeschool. And so that's a big thing for me, knowing that I'm able to be able to show my children how to walk by faith and be able to disciple them, and be able to be their first line of defense, being able to hear, all the little stories they have, and see their interactions, their moments, not miss their moments. Whenever my kids have taken their first steps or started reading, or, even got into their little sibling fights, that I was able to be there, and that I didn't have to miss those moments. That really means something to me. So I would say not missing the moments, being able to be one of their greatest influences, and being able to protect them at home.
I like that. I like that. And I have to agree with that too. It is so important when you can be there to see and capture all those little moments. Now, today's children are photographed from the moment they pop out.
Yes.
So the nice thing about, if you have to work outside the home now, someone can help capture some of those images for you, and then I can get to see milestones from far, far away, even
Right.
and they're there. But I do agree, is nothing like mom being able to be there if possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. This is from Grace Field, and Grace, you're the one that won the apron.
Yes.
Send me your mailing address. When you're having a hard day, what would slack first? Homemaking, self-care, business, or homeschooling? So when something's got to go, what is it?
Wow. I would say business, and sometimes business and homeschooling. Um, and I say those because essentially the homeschooling part, well, I wouldn't even, it never really goes, because I feel like I call our whole home, and just period, is just our school. Whether we're inside the home or out, my kids are constantly learning. So even if I don't do like, okay, guys, we're gonna work on this particular study, they're still learning. So if they come and we have to get dinner on the table, and I'm like bringing my babies here to bake with me, we're still learning. They're learning how to measure. They're learning, character building things by sharing and taking turns. We're going, over math, reading. So the homeschooling never essentially stops. So even if we're focused on homemaking, I know that I'm still homeschooling. And so I would say business would kind of get pushed, depending upon if it's it just really depends upon the day. If it's some things that I need to get done, I have days where business does take a priority, and I may have to push homemaking to the side and say, okay, I'm going to have to, get to the kitchen a little later on tonight, because right now I really need to, work on these emails. I really need to get this video uploaded. And so I'll focus on business. So I think that for me, it really depends on the moment, and what's going on and what needs to be done at that time.
Okay. Here's another. Can you give us an idea? Can you give us an idea of how you get your chores done? Like, do you do zone cleaning, or what? Do you do fit frugal mom? What's your method?
So, I actually don't have a name necessarily for my method. I literally just, I believe in, if I see it needs to be clean, then I just get it done. So if, for instance, if I see something on the floor, and my mom would do this when we were little, it would make, let's say it was something on the floor and we just walked past it. And my mom is like, okay, wait a minute. Now you all have walked past this 8 times. Nobody's going to pick it up. And so I think that when you see something and you're able to just go ahead and just get it done. If you walk in the kitchen and you're seeing that there are crumbs all over the floor, you step through the crumbs 8 times going room to room instead of just taking 30 seconds, getting that broom and just getting the crumbs right on up. And so I try to clean as I go. I do what I see needs to be. If I see something that needs to be done, I just try my best to do it if I can right then and there. Or if, I know, okay, all right, once I get the baby down for a nap, I'm going to go right in there and do that. So I just honestly just clean what needs to be cleaned.
So you don't have a daily routine or a laundry routine or anything like that?
So I do have routines, but a lot of it.
Probably in your notebook.
So yes, and sometimes my notebook is just even in my head sometimes where I think because I've been doing it so long, I just do it. So in the morning time, I like to go and I actually put a load of laundry in like first thing in the morning just so that I can go ahead and get that started. And then my kids and we have our routine and where I'm getting them ready for the day, and I'm getting myself ready. We're making up our beds and things and getting breakfast. So I have my routines down for my morning, the middle of the day routine, and then my evening routine. And so I'll do it like that.
Okay. Um, how do you balance outside relationships as a homemaker? I'm feeling like I'm starting to lose my friends and they don't understand what God has called me to.
Ooh, that is a great question.
Who asked that question? My
That's a great
goodness.
question.
I mean, they ain't joking with this one.
That is a great question. Wow. I think that, there has to be a lot of grace
Here it is.
and understanding. Okay, wow. That's a great question. So I think there has to be a lot of grace and understanding. I know that for me, when I first got married, my relationships with my friends did change because, I got married, young. So my friends were not, married, and I made new friends as well, who some may have been older than me and they were married. And so, one thing, shout out to my best friend who's watching now, Alicia, who we've been best friends since we were 14. And even through our different changes and seasons of life, there was just grace and understanding. So even though when I got married, even though she was not married, she still gave me grace to, it's okay. Your husband's coming home. I will talk to you later. I love you. We will catch up the next time. And I think that just having that grace, if you have people who don't understand that or are, catching the attitude because you have to go cook dinner or spend time with your husband, I think those relationships, some of them kind of fall off, because if it's a person that really is for you, they're also for your marriage. And so that's one of the things with my friends who are in my life. They are for my marriage. They want to see my marriage thrive as well. And so I think that that's a big thing. And then I just try to, like for me, I have a thing that I'm not on the phone. If my husband gets home from work, then I'm focused on, meeting his needs. I'm focusing on talking to him about his day. And so I try to do things, like maybe if I talk to my friends when my husband is not home, or if he went to run errands, and I may call one of my girlfriends and have that time. So I think it's just all about finding moments and having grace in those relationships. I have other friends who are homemakers, and I just give them grace. If they don't respond back to a text message, I don't take it personal. If it's been a week, it's okay, because I know that they're just doing life. And so there's grace there for that. And so I think that just really having that grace, and if your friends are really for you, they're going to understand that. And if you have people in your life that are, always upset about that, they don't understand, they're, sending you messages, why haven't you texted me back? And you have a family and you have kids and a husband and you're trying to manage a home, then you may need to reevaluate those relationships during the season in your life.
Absolutely. That's one of the things I was going to say, is that some people are in your life for a season.
Mm-hmm.
and seasons come and seasons go,
Mhm.
and people can come and people
Mhm.
can go.
That's
There'll
right.
be some people that are
Mhm.
ride or die and they're with you from fifth
Yep.
grade on. And then there's some people that they're with you for a certain number of years. And
Mhm.
when your season changes and their season doesn't,
Mhm.
you kind of separate. And it
Mm.
could be a temporary and it could be permanent. And you
That's
fill
right.
those spaces with others at the time.
Mhm.
Um, this was, I think it was right here. Okay. Any advice for women who feel the call to start a homemaking YouTube channel and podcast? What are the do's and don'ts? How do you manage your time while keeping your YouTube channel active?
Wow, that is such a great question. It's a field question.
Mhm.
Um, any advice for women who feel called to start a homemaking kitchen? I would say if you feel called to do it, and you feel like you can do it. Go for it. Don't I always feel like, done is better than perfect because perfect doesn't even exist, right? And so when I wanted to start my YouTube channel, I had some people say, "You can't start a channel. You don't have a camera. You don't have the perfect setup. You don't have." And I didn't let that stop me. I record videos off my phone, always have. I use what I had. At one point, I didn't even have a tripod. I would just stack diaper and white boxes up and just put my phone there, and record my videos that way. And I didn't let anything stop me. So I feel like if you feel called to do it, whether it's a YouTube channel or a podcast, then do it. Don't let anything stop you. And always look to definitely always look to better yourself, but don't feel like you have to be perfect. Things will come with time. So now I have a tripod, and like I said, at one point I was stacking my camera on stacked diaper boxes, or baby white boxes, and now I have a ring light, but at one point I didn't have a ring light, and it's okay. And even now I still don't have necessarily the perfect setup, but I think that that's what makes me authentic and my channel feel relatable to other women, because I'm not trying to be picture perfect. I once heard someone say, when it comes to YouTube, that if people wanted perfection, they would watch TV. And so this is something. Exactly, right? This is something that people want to be able to relate to. And, sometimes, like I share with you all in the videos, sometimes you might hear my kids in the background. But I want people to know that that's okay, because this is motherhood. This is, homemaking. And so if you only see me and it's always perfect, you're going to feel like, oh my goodness, well, my maybe I'm doing something wrong. My kids are always screaming. My house doesn't look perfect. My house doesn't look perfect, and my kids scream, and sometimes they get on my nerves, and I have to ask God to help me. But that is, I think, that's what touches people, being relatable, being your authentic self, and being transparent. So girl, go for it. And as far as, let me see, the other part I didn't answer, managing my time while keeping the channel active. um that's really big. I would say it really depends on the season of life you're in. There were some times where there were big kind of gaps in how long I had posted a video, just because, I may have just given birth and I wasn't able to, record videos like I normally would. But I allowed myself to know, okay, you know what? Right now, this season that you're in, you're recovering from just having a baby. Your body's healing. Give yourself grace. And so I think that you have to know what season you're in. Right now, I don't have a newborn. I do have a baby, but he's not a newborn. And so I'm flowing right now with the season that I'm in. So just be gracious of, be graceful, and think about what season you are in, and then flow with that.
I think I like to give her a little bit of advice myself. And if you want to start a channel related to homemaking, you have to decide what kind of homemaking channel you're going to have. Because whereas Angel and I both have homemaking channels, our channels are very different.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas I tend to focus on those homemaking skill sets that I
Mhm.
feel like so many of today's young homemakers don't have. And I try to
Mhm.
focus a lot on that. I do a lot of teaching of cooking and cleaning and those kinds of things. I think Angel focuses more on those more aesthetic things related to homemaking, um, attitudes and those kinds of things. So I think you just have to decide
Mhm.
where you want to be. And
Mhm.
just keep in mind that nobody can be a better you than you.
Love that.
Don't want to try to emulate Angel or emulate me. You have to decide what kind of space you want to occupy.
Mhm.
Because I tell you what, when I started my homemaking channel, I felt very confident in what I had to offer.
Mhm.
But I am not the 30-year-old homemaker out there.
Mhm.
I'm more like the grandmother or the auntie.
Mhm.
And I was challenged and concerned. Well, do they want to hear my voice? But I was
Mhm.
confident that I have something to teach. I've got the
Mhm.
experience that I've lived through where they are now. So I've certainly got the experience to teach. So, but I don't try to pretend to be that young.
Mhm.
I'm definitely a seasoned homemaker at this point
Mhm.
in life. And so just think about where it is you want to be, Janice, and the kind of homemaking skills you want to teach, and then go from there. And just start one video a week. Don't
Mhm. And can Denise, do you mind if I just add one thing that came
know.
to my mind? Is that I love what you said, Denise, about the variety in homemaking channels because you have to do what you feel called to do. Because, for instance, you may have a homemaking channel that is they do strictly clean with me videos.
Mhm.
And I remember at one point I was trying to feel like, well, okay, I see cleaning videos here. I see some people that only do grocery hauls, some people that do, different things. And certain things I tried and I realized you know what? This really isn't my style, or this isn't really the type of video. And I had to learn to, okay, Angel, you don't have to do grocery hauls just because you think that on YouTube,
You.
this is what you have to do. And you can still, there's some people that I just watch their channels just for grocery hauls. There's some people I watch just because I like just how they clean, or I like some people just talking. And so embracing that and knowing that whatever it is that I do, that's the people who are going to be attracted to my channel will be attracted to that and to me and my personality. So just do what it is that you feel led and called to do.
Okay, we got a good one. I gotta find it.
Okay.
Uh, well, here's the question. I can't find it to pop it up here just yet. I'll look for it.
Okay.
But this question was, do you think it is bad for the wife to bring in a higher source of income than the husband? I have a small business and it has grown so much that it um, sometimes makes more than he makes.
Mm. Um, that's a loaded question. I don't think that that is a bad thing. Um, but I would say that it really depends on you and your husband. If um if you do have a business and it is bringing more income in than his job or his business, and it's making him feel some type of way, it's making him you don't want to do it's making him feel some type of way, or others are making him feel some type of way, and he maybe expresses to you whatever his thoughts or are concerns about that. I think that's something that you should take the time to really listen to, and because you don't want to do anything that's going to emasculate your husband. I don't think that necessarily your business doing more well financially, it just automatically means that he's emasculated or anything in that way. But I think that we have to be very careful about also even what we share, and so let's say one month your business just does so well, and what he's doing may not do as well, then that wouldn't be something that I would be sharing with other people just openly, or telling people how much your business made and his business didn't make, because then those are the things that would start to make him maybe feel emasculated or things like that, or like he's not providing as much. So I think that you all just coming together and just seeing setting the standard for your home and what works for your marriage, and if he's absolutely fine with that, then that is great. And, don't let anybody else project their feelings or anything towards that, but do what works for your home. But make sure that you have that open line of communication with your husband, and that you are honoring him, even through, your work.
And the other thing too is that whatever each one brings in, it's all for the benefit of the family.
Exactly.
It's
Yes.
a community
That's
money.
right.
It's not mine and it's not
Mhm.
yours. It's
Mhm.
ours.
Yes.
So it's for the benefit of the family. And there are many women out there, especially in the executive arena, who make
Mhm.
much more than their husbands do, depending
Mhm.
on what field you've gone into.
Mhm.
So you just have to have a conversation with
Mhm.
between the two of you as to what's important, what our values are, so that nothing, especially anything negative, is kind of filtered to the other partner, and also so that it doesn't trickle down to the children.
That's so true, Denise. But you said something that was so essential, and that is like even how we view finances. Because I know for my husband and I, it's everything is ours together. Even when my husband, when he gets paid, my husband is not like, this is my money and this is ours. Honey, we got paid today. And so I think that that's a big thing, is how you view your finances. If you view them as something separate, like, this is his money, this is my money, and things like that, it can cause that confusion. But when you're joint together, and like you said, Denise, it's for the betterment of the entire family, then you don't feel that way. And so even with expressing to him, honey, whatever comes from this business, this is ours together, as opposed to, well, this is my income, this is what I bring in. I think that would even make a big difference in how he would feel, knowing that it's, for the both of you, and not something that is just, yours.
Okay. Um, I think we're going to have to make this the last question because, Angel, I mean, I've kept you for an hour and the questions are still
Oh, it
coming
hasn't
in.
even felt like that. This has been so good.
Yes, you might have to come back. I'm starting to have a hot flash too. Sorry. You might have to come back. But I think this is a good question here where we can stop and then we can go into the lightning round. But
Okay.
is there anything during your journey you could change? Would you or would you not, and why?
Ooh, that's a deep question.
These people
Um,
have been deep
yeah, I
today.
know. Y'all just really want to know. Okay, so um, hmm, honestly, no, I don't. Even the things that I reflect back on, I see, okay, I wish I may have, I could have done these things better. Everything that has happened has literally made me into the woman that I am today. And even the woman I am today, when I look back, Lord willing, 10 years from now, I want to be a better woman than I am in this moment, in this day right now. And so there's nothing that I don't think that I would necessarily change per se, where I would say, I wish this didn't happen. But I would say that I would just be more bold and more confident from the beginning, in my role as a homemaker, and not letting anyone tear me down with their words or project their opinions. As far as I remember, when I was a really young homemaker, you
And
know,
you
and still are, I still am. I remember people sometimes would say things like, um, well, when are you really gonna do something with your life? Or when are you gonna help your husband? How long do you plan to stay at home? Okay, after you have your kids, are you gonna go to work? Are you gonna do things? And so I really wish, and I did, speak up a little bit, but it's some things that I feel like I wish I would have been more bold about. And so now I am. And so now I know, someone asked me recently, while I was out, well, what is your profession? What do you do? And I said, I'm a homemaker. And I said it and I had so much joy and confidence when I said it, as opposed to when I was much younger and someone may have asked me, and I may have felt like, well, I stay at home, or and so having that confidence, not saying, oh, well, I stay at home, and somebody, that's all you do, or what do you do at home? But really, I'm a home, or don't you, this is what I would say. Sorry, I'm getting tongue tied. I never say that I'm unemployed.
Mm-mm.
I always say that I'm a homemaker. I had someone say before, well, what is your profession? And I said, well, I'm a homemaker. Oh, okay, you're unemployed. No, I'm a homemaker. Never let someone tell you or label you as unemployed. You are a homemaker, and that is a great occupation, and it is a great role.
Yes, it is. And they have done a cost analysis for what it would cost to pay someone to do all the things that people do as
Mhm.
homemakers, and only millionaires probably could afford one.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe one day we might be collecting a salary. You never know.
I'm going to give you one more question and then I'm going to stop. And I think
Okay.
this is one you will want to address.
Okay.
And there it is.
Okay.
She's got two boys and she's homeschooling and also wanted to teach about Christ. So what are some things that you do in the morning and throughout the day? And I thought you would probably want to answer that question. So I didn't want to leave it on the table.
Okay, sure. So I actually have a couple of videos on this too, as far as how to spend time with God, and while being a busy mom. And so for me, some of the things that I do in the morning and throughout my day to teach my children about Christ. When we first wake up, we always say, "Thank you, Jesus, for waking us up this morning." That's something my grandmother did with us. So we start off the day with honoring the Lord, acknowledging Him, and we do things like I cut on worship music while I'm making breakfast and while they're eating. We praise, we dance, and so we read our Bibles. I have my children have their own little Bibles, and so we'll do Bible time. I have posters around the house that have like fruits of the spirit. And so one activity I'll share with you that you can maybe incorporate with your children is my children, we go over the fruits of the spirit every day. And so when in the morning time, when we're getting fruit together and we'll have fruit bowls and things, then I have my children name the fruits, a fruit of the spirit. And we talk about those things. And so talking about those fruits of the spirit, having those moments when they have disagreements or they're having a sibling fight. And I'll say, no, wait a minute. Right now, you're not exuding self-control. You're not exuding kindness or gentleness. And so I'll talk to them about that and say, okay, how can you, display those things? How can you show kindness to your brother in this moment? How can you, be show self-control, in this moment? And so continuing to just disciple them and literally incorporate God into your day, through all the little moments, in the moments where you're frustrated, and let's say you're frustrated trying to homeschool and you're homemaking and things are happening. I allow my children to see me have my moments where I'm weak and I need God to give me strength and allow me to be strong. So sometimes, I'll break out and pray and ask God, Lord, please give me the strength that I need, or help me to be patient. And sometimes my children, as a result of seeing that, my daughter has come to me sometimes and she says, Mommy, are you okay? And she'll tell me, she says, it's okay, Mommy. Ask Jesus to help you. You can, if she knows that I'm busy, I'm trying to get everything done, she'll say, ask Jesus to help you and he'll help you, Mommy. And so just really, just relying on him and just including God in your day will really be a big help and a big way to show your children, how to follow Christ.
Okay. All right, people. We cannot ask her another question. So it's time for the lightning round.
Okay.
Oh, but before I do the lightning round, I do need to ask you, is there anything you want to add?
Yes, I actually have a e-guide that I have written called How to Be a Successful Homemaker. And in that e-guide, I teach you everything that I feel you need to know to be able to thrive as a homemaker in your home. And so I put my heart and soul into this, and all the different things that I have learned through trial and error, and the things that, as we were speaking on the show, of what I wish I would have done differently. And so I talk about how to set boundaries, how to implement routines, how to start your day early. I give hygiene tips for yourself and your children, and different budgeting tips, and how to meal plan and how to meal prep, and so many different things. I also have some homemaking poems in there that I have written as well. And so I would, if you all would want to get your copy, you can come onto my channel, Habits of a Homemaker, and I have all of the information there. You can look on my community tab in my description boxes. And so to get that, all you would need to do is just send your payment of $65 to my Cash App, which is Angel Jackson, $ Angel Jackson 0423. And I will email you your personal exclusive copy of How to Be a Successful Homemaker e-guide. And you can always have this with you. It's literally an all-in-one guide with everything in one place. So, no late nights on Google and you're trying to find articles on every little thing. Everything is in one place, in one e-guide, teaching you how to be a successful homemaker that you can have with you for a lifetime.
Okay. I've got here on the screen where you can get your copy of the book, and you can see right there on the ticker the name of the book, How to Be a Successful Homemaker, everything you need to know to thrive. And then there's her Cash App. You can also do PayPal too. I thought I had put the PayPal link up here, but I guess I forgot to do that. So now it is time for the lightning round. So, all right. And for those of you who are new here, I think you will enjoy it. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, now you're gonna have to come back because we didn't get to all our questions.
Right.
Here we go. Headbands or barrettes?
Headbands.
T-length or maxi?
Maxi.
Rice or beans?
Rice.
Better Homes and Garden or Betty Crocker?
Ooh, that's so hard. Better Homes and Garden.
Slow cooker or Dutch oven?
Slow cooker.
Disney World or Myrtle Beach?
Disney World.
Manny or Petty?
Petty.
Candlelight or moonlight?
Candlelight.
The Princess and the Frog or the Black Panther?
The Black Panther.
Nikki Marino from Inspired by Nikki or Jennifer Scott from The Daily Connoisseur?
Now, you better be ashamed asking me such a hard question like that. Can I pick both? Both.
All right. Well, Angel, I want to thank you for joining me today. This was so much fun. And it was so much fun trying to pick out your lightning round questions too.
I love those.
Make them personal for each person.
Oh,
And this was so much
yes,
fun.
it was. I have truly enjoyed this. I would love to come back. This has been awesome. You all have really made the last day of being 29 so amazing for me.
Yes, people, she turns 30 tomorrow. That's why I said she's still a young homemaker. See, I was 30 once, but I got over it. But look at there.
Oh, that's my best friend.
That's your friend Alicia. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much, sis.
All right. Happy early birthday. So, Angel, I'm going to pop you off the screen, unless you can say goodbye to everyone, and then I'm going to pop you off the screen and I'm going to wrap up, and then I'll come back and talk to you in the green room just for a second.
Okay. Thank you, ladies, so much for tuning in tonight and for all of your wonderful questions and you taking the time out. I pray that you ladies were encouraged in some way. I pray that the e-guide blesses you all. And we got to do this again soon. So please subscribe to my channel, Habits of a Homemaker, so you all can also be a part of my community over there and we can continue to grow and thrive in our homemaking.
I'm going to share the screen one more time so they can see it. There you go.
Okay.
So you guys can see there she is. And then here's the video I was talking about earlier. God said it was in your voice and some other things. So Angel, I am going to boot you off and I'll be back in a minute.
All right. Bye, ladies.
Was she not amazing? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I was so blessed by this young lady. It was truly amazing. And as I mentioned earlier, too, I was also convicted by my little spicy tongue that I can occasionally have. So when she talked about it in the voice. So yeah, there's that too. So for those of you who joined us late, we had Angel Jackson from Habits of a Homemaker on, and she was talking about the habits of a homemaker and just how to really create a peaceful home. And she was amazing. Also want to invite you to check out my 1950s housewife video and also my laundry room video. And that our featured apron is Dawn, and it is 10% off this week. So be sure and check us out at aprondiva.com. I always like to be sure and give you guys the opportunity to do that. Like I said, pretty and practical. We believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. And let's see what else. So my question for you ladies, what is your aha moment? What is your aha moment? What are you going to do differently to make your home a sanctuary? Tell me in the chat. And if you're on the replay, leave me a comment because I really want to know. Because like I said, I thought about the video that she had about it's in the voice. And sometimes my husband will get after me about like, you don't have to be so sharp. And sometimes it just, especially if I'm frustrated. And so that's what I'm going to do differently is make sure that I watch my tone of voice. So what are you going to do differently? Let us know what you're going to do differently to make your home a sanctuary. And in the meantime, this is Denise Jordan saying you are not done yet. Click on the link in the comment section below and check out another of my homemaking stories. And I also want to remind you guys that I too am a writer. I've got several of my children's books that I've written in the description box. So be sure and check those out. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.